Hello everyone. Now we are starting your next topic of Unit 2, that is switching. So a network consists of many switching devices in order to connect a multiple devices. One solution could be to have a point-to-point connection between each pair of device, but this increases the number of connection. The other solution could be to have a central device and connect every device to each other via the central device. That is your star topology. Both these methods are wasteful and impractical for very large network. The other topologies are also cannot be used for the transmission of data. Hence, the better solution is switching. A switched network is made up of a series of interconnected nodes called as the switches. The switch is the device that creates a temporary connection between the two or more devices. The figure shows the switching network. Next is switching methods. There are basic three methods of switching: circuit switching, packet switching, and message switching. Out of this, a circuit and packet switching are commonly used today, but the message switching has been phased out in the general communication, but it is still used in the networking applications. So we are starting with your first type of switching is circuit switching networks. The circuit switching is used in the public telephone networks. It was developed to handle a voice traffic, but it can also handle a digital data. However, the circuit switching cannot handle a digital data efficiently. Using the circuit switching, a dedicated path is established between two stations for the communication. A telephone network provides a telephone service which involves the two ways real-time transmission of voice signal across a network. A network connection allows the electrical current and associated voice signal to flow between the two users. The end-to-end connection is maintained for the duration of the call. The telephone networks are connection oriented because they require a setting up of connection between the actual transfer of information can take place. The transfer mode of the network that involves setting up of a dedicated end-to-end connection is called a circuit switching. In a circuit switching, a routing decision is made when the path is set up across the network. After the link has been set between the sender and receiver, the information is forwarded continuously over the link. After the link has been set up with no additional address information about the receiver or destination machine is required. In circuit switching, a dedicated path is established between the sender and receiver, which is maintained for the entire duration of conversation, that is showing in figure. In telephone system, a circuit switching is used if a circuit switching is used in a computer network. The sending machine has the first established link with the receiving machine. After the link is established, the data is transmitted from sender to receiver. After the data flow stops, the link is released. The circuit switching network operates in three phases: set up the connection, data transfer phase, and tear down phase. So first is circuit establishment. In a circuit switching network, before any signal is transmitted, it is necessary to establish an end-to-end link. For example, if the communication is between A and D, then the path from the A and D is node 1, node 2, and node 3, and D has the established first data transfer phase. The information can be transferred from A to D through the network. The data can be analog or digital depending on the nature of the network. Generally, all the internal connections are full duplex mode. Next is circuit disconnection or tear down phase. After some time, the connection between two users is terminated, usually by the action of one or two stations. The circuit switching is inefficient in most of the applications. The entire channel capacity is dedicated for the duration of connection, even if the data is not being transferred. Once circuit is established, the network is effectively transparent to user with no delay involved. So applications of circuit switching is used in the telephone networks. Advantages of circuit switching. The major advantage of circuit switching is that the dedicated transmission channel The computer established to provide a guaranteed data rate. In the circuit switching, because of the dedicated part, there is no delay in the data flow. And disadvantages of circuit switching is the circuit switching is the connection is dedicated. It cannot be used to transmit any other data even if the channel is free. Dedicated channel is required more bandwidth and it takes long time to establish a connection. Next is message switching. In a telegraphy, the text message is encoded using the Morse code into a sequence of dots and dashes. Each dot or dash is communicated by the transmitting a short or long pulses of electrical current over the copper wire. In the telegram network, the text message is transmitted from the source telephone office to the telegraph switching station. At this switching station, an operator takes the decision of routing the message based on the destination address information. The operator will either forward the message if a communication line to be destinated is free, or store the message still the communication line becomes the free. Message switching does not establish a dedicated path between two communication devices. In the message switching, each message is treated as an independent unit and include its own destination and source address. Each complete message is then transmitted from device to device through an internetwork. The intermediate device receiver receives the message, stores it, and until the next device is ready to receive it, and then the forward to the next device. For this reason, a message switching network is sometimes called as a store and forward network. Message switching can be programmed with the information about the most effective route as well as information regarding the neighboring switches that can be used to forward the message to their ultimate destination. Advantages of message switching: it provides a efficient traffic management by assigning a priorities to the message to be switched. It reduces the network traffic congestion because it is able to store the message until the communication channel becomes available. With the message switching, the network device shares the data channel. It provides asynchronous communication across the time zone. Disadvantages of message switching: the storing and forwarding introduce the delay, hence cannot be used for the real-time application like voice and video. The intermediate device requires a large storing capacity since it has to store the message unless the free path is available. Next is packet switching. In packet switching, messages are broken into the packets. Each packet has a header with the source, destination, and intermediate node address information. The other part of packet includes the data load. Individual packets can take different routes to reach the destination. Independent routing of packets gives two advantages. First is bandwidth is reduced due to splitting data onto different routes in a busy circuit, and second is if a certain link is in the network goes down during the transmission, the remaining packets can be sent through the another route. The packets can arrive out of order at the receiver and have to be reassembled in the proper sequence. In the packet switching, packet lengths is restricted to certain maximum length. This length is short enough to allow the switching devices to store the packet data in memory. There are two types of packet switching: datagram packet switching and virtual circuit packet switching. So first is datagram packet switching. In this method, message is divided into the stream of packets. Each packet has its individual include address and treated as an independent unit with its own control instructor. The switching devices would route each packet independently through the network. Each intermediate node will determine the packet's next route segment. Before the transmission start, the sequence of the packet and their destinations are communicated by the exchanging control information between the sending terminal, the network, and the receiving terminal. In the packet switching, The resources are not allocated for any packet, so there is no reserved bandwidth and no scheduled process time allotted for the each packet. No dedicated connection is established between the sender and receiver. The resource allocation is on demand and on first come first serve basis. When the switch receives a packet, it has to wait if there is any other packet for being processed. This will increase the delay. The datagram packet switching generally correspond to the network layer. The packets are called as a datagrams. In the circuit for So advantages of packet switching: greater line utilize efficiency, as a single node to node link can be dynamic shared by the many packet over a time. A packet switching network can perform a data rate conversation. Other traffic becomes heavy on circuit switching networks. Some are called as blocks. One packet switching network, packets are still accepted, but delivery delay increases. Priorities can be used. Each of the terminal in the group sharing our same physical circuit may be connected totally different destination. This versatility is one of the major strength of packet switching. No signal user or large data block can tie up a circuit node or resource indefinitely, make it well suited for the interactive traffic. Data protection against the corruption or loss errors are corrected by retransmission. User can select a different destination for each virtual call, overcoming the inflexibility of point-to-point dedicated network. Simultaneous calls allows the PC users to access a multiple window to different remote applications. Since many users can share the transmission resource efficiently, the cost of intermittent data communication is reduced. The new calls can be added to old ones, disconnected without affecting the other users. Disadvantages of packet switching: increase a delay due to the following reason. Transmission delay is equal to the length of packet divided into incoming channel rates, and variety delay due to the processing and queuing. The amount of overall packet delay can vary substantially due to the following reason. Packets may be vary in length, packets may be in different takes a different route, packets are subject to varying delay in the switches. They are not good for real time application. Header overhead reduce the capacity to carry the user data. More processing requires at the end of the node. Next point is virtual circuit packet switching. It establishes a logical connection between the sending and receiving devices called as a virtual circuit. The sending device and receiving device agrees upon the some important communication parameters such as maximum message size and the network path to be taken. Once the virtual circuit is established, the two devices use it for the rest of the conversation. In the virtual circuit packet switching, all of the packets travel through the virtual circuit established between the sending device and receiving device. Virtual circuit switching has some characteristic of both circuit switching networks and a datagram network. Similar to the circuit switching network, there are setup and tear down phases along with the data transfer phase. It is possible to allocate the resource either in the setup phase, similar to the circuit switch network, as per the required, similar the datagram network. Similar to the circuit switching networks, all the packets following the same path established during the setup phase. This means the packet don't take a different path to arrive at the destination. Virtual circuits correspond to the data link layer. The virtual circuit networks, the network consists of the switches which routes the traffic from the source to destination. The three phases of virtual circuit packet switching is: first is setup phase, second is data transfer phase, and third is tear down phase. Setup phase: in this phase, the source and destination use their global address. This will help switches to make a table entries for the connection. Data transfer phase: the data transfer is the second phase in which the frames are transmitted from source to the destination. tear down phase. In this tear down phase, both source and destination will communicate the switches to erase the corresponding entries. Now, advantages of virtual circuit packet switching. Virtual packet switching use the abbreviation headers and hardware-based table lookup, which allows the fast processing and forwarding of packet. In the virtual circuit packet, switching resource can allocated during the connection setup. The number of bits required in the header is much smaller than the number of required to provide a full destination network address. This reduces the wastage of transmission bandwidth. The virtual circuit packet switches use the virtual circuit identifiers, which use the identify the connection and specify the type of priority given to the packets by scheduler that controls the transmission in the next output port. The efficiency of virtual circuit packet switching is high. Disadvantages of virtual circuit packet switching is the switches in the network need to maintain the information about the flows they are handling. The amount of required state information grows very quickly with the number of flows. In the case of the fault occur in the network, all affected connection must be set up again. The connection setup is not possible if the switches is unable to handle the volume of traffic allowed to the or link utilize exceed the certain thresholds. Next point is structure of the switch. The figure shows the representation of the network as a cloud with the connection of multiple users. A circuit switching is the network provides the connectivity between the input and output of network. This allows the flow of information from input to output. However, a network can be distributed over a large geographical area. The network shown in the figure contains the number of communication link and switches. The various users are interconnected by the switches. The figure shows the block schematic of circuit switch. A circuit switch transfers the input signal to an appropriate output under the control of the signal produced by the control block in the shown in the figure. Thank you.